are Bourbon with the Bluegrass Babes, and we are here today with Dan and Shay. We're here today with Sky and Jessica, and you guys own the Nutrishop here in Lexington. So tell us a little bit about your business and what you guys do.
So we're a little bit different than other vitamin supplement companies. We only use FDA-approved ingredients, which is rare. We only use clinical study dosages, so if it's in there, it's not just for namesake, it's actually for results. We really focus on results. We focus on really getting to know what you do before we just sell you the most popular thing. That's what a lot of people do when you walk in, but I'm extremely educated in this stuff, been doing it a long time. Fell in love with Nutrishop a long time ago, and Lexington's been a good place. We opened up during COVID, so that was we signed the lease on our building like 3 days before they shut the world down. And we're like, yay, we're business owners. And then we're like, oh no, we're business owners. But we were downtown, like Ashland Plaza area. And we were near the campus. We planned that out, and then school shut down forever. And so it was crazy. Like parking lots were empty everywhere, but we survived like the first 2 years, which is good. We're still surviving, but we moved over to Tiverton near like LAC and Cocktails too, and it has just been, there's a gym right beside us. There's a bunch of gyms around us, so that's helped out. People go there to shop, so it's just been so much better since we moved locations.
Yeah. That is great. And how did you all like get into the space? How are you both fitness enthusiasts, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I love fitness. It saved my life a long time ago, so it's just a long story in that regard. So I was a musician for a long time, played musician, went to school for computers, ended up being a musician, wrote songs in Nashville for Sony for like ever. Didn't have any hours really, so because I wrote songs with people, and so I was just going here and there. And I lived right next to a gym, and I was always athletic and played sports, but couldn't really put on weight. I was like fast and speedy and could move, but never like in shape. And so I started going to Gold's Gym, and I saw a bunch of Nutrishop shirts everywhere. And I was like, what is this? Like, what is this shop that I've never heard of before? And I met the owner, and they kind of took me under their wing, and I ended up doing like competitions and everything. And Nutrishop was just fantastic. Their product, I've taken supplements from other places, and they're just so much better. They taste better, they work better. And so it's just really benefited me. And then I met her. This is a different, it's a cute story.
My story is when I was like in high school, I went through like eating disorders and all of that. Anyway, I fell in love with fitness, and it saved me. So I worked at a gym that had a Nutrishop connected to it, and he went to that gym, and so that's how the rest is history.
So it's actually a pretty
And then when we first started
story.
dating, we knew that that's what we wanted to do. Like 3 and then like 4 years down the road, finally got to do it.
So this is interesting because I just saw a reel today about misconception about gym rats, how they're shallow and they only care about what they look like, and you see them flexing in the mirror and you think, oh my gosh, they're so conceited, but actually there's usually a story under that. And same for me, like gym is therapy for me.
It is for a lot of people.
It's way more mental than it is physical.
Yes. So it's just cool to hear both of y'all say that the gym has basically saved your life.
It can do a lot. Plus there's a lot of research in when people start working out, they usually change their diet, and gut health and glutamine can help with depression. And I know a lot of people think it's vanity, but it's actually a lot of it has to do with starting to tack into that depression, and so they start feeling a lot better about themselves instead of looking down on themselves all the time. It's not only vanity. Now you do appreciate the way you look because of the transformation
And the hard work.
right, and the hard work that goes into it. It's not as hard as people think, but it's continuous. That's a lifestyle change, and when that happens, the dopamine release, the serotonin release, you start feeling a lot better than just looking a lot better. And those two just exponentially snowball, and it helps tremendously on people.
Don't you realize too, when you take control of that aspect of your life, you feel like you can get control on other things too, like running a business.
It's crazy, like the difference in feeling from when you work out and then immediately after. Like you can be exhausted, like feel like I don't want to work out, and there's those days all the time. almost every time.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
And
every
then
day.
you do it, and you just feel like a totally different person afterwards. Yeah.
Every time. Jessica Jackson is actually how I met Sky and Jessica. I don't know your last name, but it's not Jackson.
Shelton.
But she kind of preaches that whole like nutrition is part of the success story, and I would argue as well that being physically active is part of the success story. Like if you want to be the best version of yourself, you've got to integrate that, because if you're missing that key element, the rest of it could be so much better if you just add that in there.
I think it's just elements of life, because I've seen it go the opposite way as well. I've seen people get their business in order, and once they do that, they go into the fitness side as well. I've seen that, and they feed off of each other just as well. I've seen people get motivated from one thing, and then it start affecting other parts of their life. And there is just a healthy way of living. I know it might be faux pas these days to say that, but you can't really deny that being healthy helps everything in your life. Everything. There's a reason why it's defined healthy. You can't change the definition all of a sudden. It's very important to stay healthy.
Right, and it's just as mental as it is physical.
Yep.
Like
Correct.
you had just said, Jessica, and I completely agree with that. And it's almost that, like you just said, you get up and like you don't want to work out today, and pushing yourself. Like I've never gone to work out and I'm like, man, I wish I didn't do that. I've never said that.
Yeah,
Literally
right,
not
right.
once.
You never regret it.
That's true. That's
Not
a very
once.
good point.
And I recently,
stealing that.
I have pretty sedentary work, so I recently got a treadmill actually to go under my desk.
A walking treadmill?
Yes, just
those
to
are cool.
do, just to move a
Yeah.
little bit, because it just makes you feel so much better to just move your body. And there are a lot of tips and tricks I feel like that can go off of that. So tell us a little bit, I'm very curious. So you had talked a little bit about the differences in the supplements that you all sell. So as your fitness journey, and I feel like we've all gone through this, there are a million different supplement companies out there.
Right.
So what really stuck out to you with Nutrishop? What are some of the things that you look for?
Well, everything has went online so much. Even GNC has went online, and Vitamin Shop is specifically kind of for individual vitamins. But I really like to get to know the person and what they do, because there could be so many underlying things that you don't take into consideration from somebody. I need to know what exercises they're doing. I need to know kind of what their lifestyle is. Because I had one lady come in the other day and she just said she got her cortisol levels checked and they were way too high. And then I've had another person say that their vitamin D, they can't keep their vitamin D up, and there's other things that can cause these reactions that I need to know before I give you something. Or if you're doing CrossFit versus just like strength training, or if you're just doing cardio like at Orange Theory, I'm not going to give you something if you're doing CrossFit with a lot of caffeine, because increasing your heart rate is going to lower your endurance. And everything about CrossFit is endurance and beating your last, PRs. So it really makes a difference on what people do and understanding them before I tell them about the supplement that meets their needs.
So it's not even like, you walk in and like, I'm going to buy this up. You're a consultant. Right.
Very much so, yes.
And I love that. I feel like there has definitely been this, a fad, I guess I should say, over influencers on
goodness.
social media.
They don't even know what they're taking.
And
No idea.
and I know that there's been a lot of controversy surrounding that because of what you just said. You are taking it, but you don't know why.
Right.
And I will out myself. Like I've 100% been someone who's done this. Like
Right.
when Alani New started, I was like, oh my gosh.
Right.
And then you see what's actually in their stuff, and there's barely
Not to
anything.
say, I mean,
Right.
anybody who's trying to get healthy, even
Right,
if it's a
right,
little
right,
bit, that's
right.
great. But understanding what you're taking and knowing that you spending $50 on something that might cost $25 because you saw an influencer using it, you're welcome to do that. But I feel like that's just a waste of money for something that you could be more knowledgeable about. And if you're reading online, because that's where everybody buys this stuff, they go like bodybuilding.com and everything, or the people's website who has the supplements, and it's just, there's no fitness enthusiast writing these things about the supplements. This is marketing. Yeah. They know nothing about it. They're trying to write the most intriguing sentences to make you buy this product. And that's where they care about the product more than they do the person buying the product, and that is not us, and it never will be.
Yep.
And it is like, I mean, it is kind of a little scary when you don't really know what you're putting into your body.
Yep.
And so, you know, I think that what you all are doing is awesome. I mean, like I said, because you're really almost a consultant, and I love that you just said, like, I want to know what you're doing. I want to know almost, you know, kind of, I feel like you said, like, what your goals
Like
are.
going
What
to
are you-
GNC, the people that work there, not hating on GNC, but they don't know a lot.
They don't have to.
Right.
That's the thing.
They're working. They're just working.
They're getting paid there, and I'm there 24/7. Like I
Right.
never leave. I'm the only one there. I'm the owner. I will always be there, even if it ends up being super successful. I'm not leaving. I can't trust. I wish I could, but I can't trust someone else not knowing what they're doing. I can ask questions, but if I'm not there, I have no clue.
Right.
And it's just, not to say anything bad about GNC, it's just, they're going more online. They're going to Walmart. They're going the prefabricated route of just mass, just I guess, yeah, it's just like a conveyor
business
belt.
oriented,
Yeah, it's
right.
just a business aspect. And I want to be more like a local community and helping the people out understand why they're doing it. I don't go overboard on super strict diets a lot of the times, because I've seen so many times that people start, now you can take steps to get that way, but a lot of times people will start with a diet and it becomes too difficult. And then they quit their diet, and when they quit their diet, they quit exercise, they quit everything, like right behind it. So I want to make it as simple as possible in small changes, because in the beginning, things come a lot faster. And a lot of people don't know that, but when you're starting out, the results come like that. It's when your body adapts to it that you have to start making those changes. And that's just information that people don't know. They think starting out it's going to be the most difficult part, but that's actually the easiest part. It's so much quicker in the beginning.
That's very difficult.
Yeah, the staying
Very.
consistent is different. And I try to teach that too with people.
Well, and like as your body changes and adapts, like you have to be able to change and adapt to like
Right.
re-challenge
Right.
it and everything.
Correct.
And I'm learning that there are always new challenges. So my fitness journey, I started when I was 12 years old. I got the Turbo Jam on DVD. So I feel like there's so much information, a lot of it misinformation. You feel like, oh, you're gonna commit to this, I don't know, fad diet, keto, for example,
Right.
and it's not sustainable.
Right.
And I think
It's not
that
supposed
is
to be.
why
Yeah.
people think it's hard. I think that's why they think it's so hard, because it's not sustainable. Like, it's not designed to be sustainable. Nobody can live like that.
No.
That's why they put 30-day money-back guarantees on anything fitness, because your body adapts within that period of time, and everybody thinks it works in the beginning. That's because everything works in the beginning, because your body hasn't seen it yet. And then once your body figures it out, you have to make a change. I've seen so many people lose weight on a certain diet, and they have fat that they want to get rid of, and it starts coming off. But then there's not as much fat to burn, because your body does want to even out that scale. But they don't change their diet because they think that diet is working. But once they reach that certain fat portion that will not burn, your body's going to start pulling from other areas like muscle or the food you eat and storing a little bit more, because it wants to revert. And if you stay on that diet, you're just going to plateau. And that's the reason that word exists for exercise.
I've been there a few times. I will say I've been in several different supplement shops, GNC included. And there is a different feel about your all shop. You did take the time. You asked me what my goals were, what I was doing, what my lifestyle was like. And then, I even gave you my dietary restrictions, like milk messes me up. Do not give me protein. You're like, nope, I got you. And I've already, just in 2 weeks, I've already seen a difference in my own performance. So I think that is a testament to you guys. Like, you guys stand out because you care about people. So that's my own little take
I
on
do.
that.
Yeah.
And nutrition is so complex, and so I know, like, it's hard just for me. I don't know a whole lot about it, and so seeking out that help and seeking out someone who are experts in the field, I think is so crucial. So I know that you guys do basically consulting on supplements. Do you consult in other areas as well, like such as like the food you're eating or like things like that?
We can, yes, we can do meal plans, but a lot of the times I don't want to overboard with a lot of too much knowledge for someone because it becomes overwhelming, but I'm very well versed in that too. I can do like advice on training as well, but with people knowing people like Jessica Jackson, who does the nutrition side, I would rather go there and she can not only help you with the meals, make the meals. And I know people in other like fitness places that instead of me trying to do everything, I can be super specific on one certain thing. Because you can do exercise and fitness without supplements. And you can do supplements without, there's a lot of people that just take supplements just to be healthier and they don't really exercise. And then there's people that exercise and don't do supplements. But when you combine the two with diet, the speed and it just is so much faster that way. Like it works every which way you want to do it, but when you do all three, it is just a change that makes you feel better, look better. Your depression levels just are not there anymore. It's and from someone who, she dealt with a lot of depression going up and it's to see the change from my perspective of seeing her change is like, that's worth it for me to continue doing that for other people.
Yeah. If you guys are comfortable, I would love to hear a little bit about your fitness journeys and, you know, maybe even some of the struggles that, you know, some of our viewers may completely relate to. I myself even.
I was going to say, same.
Because I do. I mean, I feel like, you know, like everyone's fitness journey is different and everyone has so many different outside factors that are going to influence what that looks like for them. Just like for me right now, like my fitness journey right now is just being able to take the time to get and walk on the treadmill. Like that has been such a game changer for me just to be able to do that. I have some restrictions right now that I can't do a whole lot. So that's what is helping me.
Right.
So if you guys are comfortable talking about it, would love to hear.
Okay. So like high school, you always see all these like beautiful women that are like models and you're looking up to them. And like, I think I was 15 years old when I started like completely not eating. I looked awful. I got down to like 89 pounds. I had to be hospitalized. And then I kept seeing like pictures of women that were muscular and like looked, I don't want to say the word thick, but thicker.
Thick, but
muscle,
good. Like thick.
Muscular. And I was like, why can't I look like that? And you can. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
When she met me, she had this mindset of not eating helped her lose weight. And I was like, that's not true, because when you train your body that you're not eating, your body adapts to you not eating, so it stores it because it thinks it's not going to eat again. That's why people who say, I eat whatever I want, that's why they're always thin. Their metabolism keeps burning consistently. When you're a baby and you're being fed, it's every 2 hours. Society changed our diet. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, because that's the only time we had. We're supposed to eat every 2 hours. It keeps your metabolism burning because your body doesn't store at that point. It learns that it's going to get food. And so it actually burns those food. And cutting carbs can be beneficial to some people, but that puts you in a state of emergency. Your brain needs carbs to function. And so keto works because ketosis is a state of emergency that your body goes in. You can't live in that. That'll raise cortisol levels, which will end up eating into muscle and storing fat even more. So it rapidly works pretty fast in the beginning, but it's not actually the healthiest way. It's when to take carbs is probably the most important. People don't even believe that, but it's true. If you're not expending the energy that you're eating, you eat energy to expend it. It's very simple. You break down muscle to repair it. If you don't have the tools to repair it, it can't. So it's everything that is about fitness is adapting. You're lifting weight that you can't, and your body then will. It's that simple. It has to build because it says, oh, I can't do that. I'm going to have to learn to do it. You're not even doing it. Your body is. But without the tools to help it speed up the process, it's not going to. It's just going to do damage. And you don't want to do damage. So it's the same thing as if you have a cut. When you do things to benefit it, your body will heal it. But when you do things to make it heal faster, it will. It's the same thing on the inside of your body. But carbs in the morning are better, and then depleting them towards the end because you don't want to sleep on carbs because you're not expending energy. Yeah.
Well, and it's like so crazy how much our society has adapted our diets.
Right.
And like we are definitely in a society of, in my opinion, of almost extremism. Like we don't do a whole lot of moderation.
Right. Yes.
Because extreme is the loudest.
Right.
You don't hear
Right.
the normalcy.
Yeah.
Like I give this illustration of like, if you're in a restaurant and everybody's having a great time, there's 100 people in the restaurant, you're on a date and y'all are telling each other about the day, and then this other family's just having a good time, and everybody's just enjoying it, and you have one couple in the back that gets in an argument, and they're loud, knock over glass, and then the waiter walks by and and it's just loud over there, and everybody in that restaurant is now focused and talking about them when they leave. They never noticed anyone else, even though the majority was having a great time. The only thing you remember are the loud ones.
That's absolutely true.
And so that's today in a nutshell, basically.
So interesting that we brought up mental health, and one thing that I think is really important for people that struggle with mental health is to realize that they're not islands. Like your physical health and your mental health are correlated. Yes, like they connect. How have you guys seen those affect each other? Because I know personally, just to give you a little background in my mental health journey, I was diagnosed pretty early on with generalized anxiety disorder. I was thrown up for no reason, like had migraines all the time, lost a bunch of weight. They tried to immediately put me on medication.
Right.
Of course, they tried to shove
the money
pills down my
Yeah.
throat. Yeah.
Instead of taking every other avenue. Yep.
The best avenue
Yep.
is just strengthen your body.
Yep.
Strengthen your body, your mind. It all goes together. So how have you guys seen that, and how do you think we can advocate for that more?
Understanding that anybody at any given time can be deficient in something that you don't know. And if you start regulating those deficiencies with vitamins, supplements, minerals, things that no one knows what they're deficient in unless you're overly getting checked, but by then you might have some disorder that comes about it. And as soon as you get seen by a medical professional, some of them are. I've met a lot that are well-versed in supplements and they will take that route first. But a lot of the times it's just prescription this, prescription that, which are a bunch of chemicals that you're not going to get from eating a healthy lifestyle. You're not getting those in your diet.
That also have their own side effects.
Right, they do, and can deplete something else in your body. So the best option in the beginning is realize that glutamine is amino acid that helps with, people think it's the vanity and they feel good about themselves in the mirror. But really, the more intake of, people start taking protein, and there's a lot of glutamine in protein. It is the only amino acid that transfers to the brain barrier that helps depression. And it also helps gut health, and gut health helps depression. And so when people do this, they don't realize that they think they're feeling better about themselves because of the way they look. But they're feeling better about themselves because you're just feeling better. And also the way you look and the way you feel helps that. So it exponentially, there's lots of degrees. So mental health comes from diet a lot of the times that people don't want to, they don't want to admit it.
Right.
Yeah.
Side question. What is wrong with liking the way you look?
Nothing.
Why is that a bad thing?
Nothing.
Like, I
Nothing
mean,
wrong with that.
if we're so against body shaming, don't do it to the ones that work hard for
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a bold way of saying it, but it's the truth. You saw Adele lose weight and she got shamed for it.
Yeah.
You
Can't
I mean,
win.
come on.
You can't win.
I made this reference, like there was a Megan Trainor, what's her name? It's All About the Bass or whatever.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Is that her name? Yeah. So she came out and she was a little bit thicker and she wrote all about the bass, no treble. Then she got a lot of money and could afford a diet. She lost a lot of weight. So I guess treble's okay when you can afford it. So I mean, it's okay. And if you're all bass all the time, then you're not going to hear the good highs in the music, because those are important too. So there's a good EQ that you can do with your body as well. It doesn't have to just be, let's load up the bass and I mean, that's
It's
the
a
best
balance.
metaphor that I can get. Yeah.
It's a balance, is what I feel like you're saying. Like
Right.
it is such a balance, and really trying to, I talked to Jessica a little bit about this, just trying to have a balance in your diet, because we all have outside factors going on. Kayla is constantly on the road, you know, like as a
Literally.
realtor, you're constantly like
Right.
on the road, and it's hard to meet your nutritional goals when you don't have a kitchen in your car,
Right.
you know,
A
and
lot of
things like,
McDonald's Happy Meals.
right.
So delicious.
Balance.
And, yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, a lot of it is balanced because that's the only way that you're going to be sustainable.
Yep.
Right. I have to say this, it's just as healthy, it's just as unhealthy to go the opposite way and be overboard in fitness. It's just as unhealthy because people don't realize, this might hit some nerves, but I have to tell the truth. I can't not tell the truth. When you're extremely overweight and obese, for one, that was the number one reason for COVID death was obesity. Your heart will fail. It doesn't grow. It is a muscle, but it doesn't grow to the size of what you are. The same thing with bodybuilders. When they get overabundant in size, their heart cannot keep up with that. So it's just as unhealthy that way as it is the other way. There might be some debate there where people will argue with me, but for your heart, it is not healthy. There's a reason why people die. There's a reason. And it's for that reason you get too big for your heart. And that's so, and being too thin can be very, very damaging. So the people that you see that look healthy, that look not overboard either way, are probably the most healthy. And they probably live a better lifestyle and they probably feel better. That's just an objective truth that you can't argue with.
I like to say like 80% of your diet should be like whole foods, good for you foods. 20%, do what you want.
Junk.
Yep.
I agree with that. I think
If you want chocolate, eat chocolate.
Right.
You don't want to raise your stress levels too much where that's doing damage. Because
Right.
cortisol is awful. Unless you enjoy just eating healthy, then do that. But
But if you deprive yourself from it, a lot of people, when it comes nighttime, you will binge.
Overboard.
Listen,
Yeah.
if I tell myself I can't have something,
You want it
I
automatically.
want it that much
Yep.
more.
Yep.
The
Exactly
oppositional
right.
reflex kicks
Yep.
in.
happy
Yep.
mediums.
Yep.
The moderation thing you were talking about.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
a big deal, man.
And you know, and it's not just with food, but just
Right.
with the journey in general. Like you said, like you can work out too much. I have
can.
definitely met people that have that I guess are recovering almost, you know, kind of bodybuilders that are like, hey, I was like starving myself. I was working out twice a day. They were ruining their muscles. They were ruining their joints. You know, and like you can go
that's a big
extreme
part of
either
it.
way. And again, like it just goes back to that, like we're in this society of like, we got to go full force one
Right.
way or the other, you know?
That's
and
so true.
And it's just, it's not sustainable, and it's, you know, it is so crazy how our mental health is directly affected with
Right.
what we're putting into our bodies. And like you had talked a little bit about gut health. I have read some things that talk about direct correlations between your gut health and your mental health.
Yep.
And, you know, and what you're putting into your body. And I do think that that's just so important. And, you know, it is just wild, just a side note, it is just wild, like how connected your body is. I had back surgery a couple years ago,
Yeah.
and I'll never forget, like coming out of surgery, and I'm like, my chest hurts, like the muscle in my chest hurts. I was like, what's going on? And the nurse came in and she's like, baby, your muscles are all connected. And I'm
Right.
like, what do you
It was
mean?
compensating for your back, yeah.
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
you know, and that's another thing too, is that like your body will compensate for other areas that are not getting the
Yep.
attention that they
Right.
need. And
The thing is, you learn that in
fascinating.
elementary school, but then you just forget it.
Right.
It's like you go through the song, the hip bone's connected to, and all this stuff is connected, and you learn about it. Well, I did when I was younger. I don't know if they still do, but
I've heard that song.
right. But it was. We learn so much when we're young that we just forget as soon as social media came out.
Yes. Well, and I also, you know, it is crazy how much that we don't learn in school
Yeah.
about these things that,
important
again,
things.
like directly affect your mental health. I am embarrassed to say this.
Yep.
I literally go my senior year of high school. Me and Kayla went to the same high school. I get to my senior year and I will never forget. I go into the counselor's office and she's like, "You never took gym." And I'm like, "Oh," and she's like, "Yeah, it's a requirement to graduate." I took gym online. Like, that's crazy.
They let you take gym online?
Yes.
That's funny.
Like,
Gym
so,
online.
you know, like that's, you know, like I just feel like we're really missing like this
Right.
major
Yeah.
area in education, where I feel like that was not okay, you know?
What, they just tell you to go run a mile?
No, so it was actually like I had to track, which was complete BS.
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
had to like track like a half an hour workout or
Yeah.
whatever it was. And like what I did, again, like it was complete bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, but things like that. But like I cannot remember talking about nutrition necessarily like in health class. Like I remember being preached eat more vegetables.
Yeah.
I remember being preached eat more fruit. But like no one ever talks to you about like, hey, your cortisol levels affect how
Right.
you feel.
Yep.
That's not a conversation that we're having.
Anytime I mention the word anabolic in my store, people instantly think steroids. And but your body is in a state anabolic, catabolic. But steroids push you anabolic. That's what they do, but your body can be anabolic or catabolic. Most people are catabolic, which means they're storing fat and losing muscle. But you have to manipulate that with supplements. And there are lots of supplements that can do that. If people want to lose weight, L-carnitine tartrate is a huge supplement. It's amino acid. And people think that we're putting chemicals and stuff in these things. No, it's just in food. Like science discovered when they're looking at carnivores, they eat a lot of protein. When you get a lot of protein in meat, L-carnitine is in that. And so when carnivores, like horses are muscular too, right? But they're not carnivores. But carnivores move more than anything else. They're constantly hunting, but they don't have any fat at all. Why do they not have fat? Why don't they eat into the muscle? Because they're all jacked. Like lions are huge in muscles, but they're moving all the time. How are they not eating? It's because science looked in and they're getting a lot of L-carnitine. And so when you supplement L-carnitine at 2 grams, your body manipulates to lose fat first. It burns that first before it eats into muscle. And bodybuilders will take L-carnitine all day long because they've worked so hard for their muscle that they don't want to lose it in the gym. That's why they carb load beforehand, because they don't have any fat to burn. So where's it going to pull energy from? Muscle. So they can't afford that to happen. They've spent years getting it, so they'll carb load. So it has energy from somewhere else. And there are lots of different ways to manipulate that people do not know that work.
That is fascinating. Actually, I didn't know that.
Well, science figures it out first, and then people in fitness steal it.
Right.
So
Steal it.
So tell us what, for someone especially starting on their fitness journey, what is a good starting point? Like if someone comes into your shop, what is a good question to ask you? Like if they don't know what to ask, is there something that you would recommend?
Yeah.
And not necessarily a supplement, but
Right.
just a question to ask, hey, this is what I'm talking
I would just like to know what you want. What do you want?
What your goal is.
Yeah.
You wanna lose
And
fat,
most
gain
people
muscle.
a majority, I would say 80% of the people are to lose more fat and gain more muscle. Yeah. But I've noticed more on the woman's side that they're afraid to build muscle. But muscle doesn't have
Women
to
are
be
so
bulky.
scared of protein. It's so sad. It's
Yeah.
so sad.
Or they won't even look at the weights.
No.
It's
no.
it's so hard to build muscle. You have no idea. So
You are not gonna get jacked.
that's a lot
No.
of
Women,
it's a lot of diet. Is a lot of eating a lot of calories to put on a lot of muscle. Like a majority of the time, women will get a lot more lean muscle.
Well, and I kind of am what are you afraid of? Looking like a man? Only men can be muscular?
Right,
No.
right.
No.
We're strong as
But I
hell.
kind of have seen that on Instagram nowadays. There's a lot of pushing fitness, so it's good.
Yeah.
It is good. I agree with that's a good sign of social media. More people are in shape than they used to be.
Right, and it's not just being skinny anymore. So I like that.
I've seen that a lot,
Yeah.
strong is the new skinny.
Yep.
That is a huge shift.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huge shift.
Yep.
Which I'm here for it.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they also did the same thing with dad bods, and then wait, it's got to even out, I guess.
Very true. Very true.
So what legacy do you all want to leave? Just even as individuals, but also as the Nutrishop owners.
I want people to understand in Lexington that if you come to Nutrishop, you're going to get a different experience, and you're going to get supplements that are completely different. I would rather it be a community feel than just a business feel. I like meeting people like Jessica Jackson, and we're right next door to Guru Fitness, and he's fantastic. He goes out and helps people. His story is great too. Y'all should have him on. He's yeah, I'll tell him. I'll tell him to come on here. He would love to talk to y'all. And so just that community of getting to know people that are involved in the same thing. And it is a community that anyone is welcome to join at any time.
Yeah.
So just get on the fitness journey, and that's sort of the legacy that I want to leave in Lexington, is like a family, basically. And I think that's a lot of small business.
Yeah.
And I want to ask before I forget. So especially like for someone newer on their fitness journey that sees all of these influencers with all of these supplements and things like that, is there something, I guess, A, that is a red flag, or B, that you should be looking for within a supplement? Whether that's maybe third-party testing, or if that is, is there something that you should, just say, hey, you should be weary of?
There are a lot. Like, I don't want to, there are too many to say, but there was one particular one that I can think of, and I will get some heat from the bodybuilding side because they love this supplement, but there's a supplement that's going around and they wanted me to sell it in my shop. I'm not going to say who it was, but they wanted me to sell their supplement in the shop, and I was going to. And I looked at the back, and it had L-norvaline in it, and so it's like, I don't know about it. So I did more research, and they said, well, it's okay. And we did some studies, and this and that, and this and that. And then I looked at the origination of, it's a toxin. It's an amino acid that mimics a muscle protein synthesis. And the way it came about is plants developed this, and it comes from plants. But it's an amino acid that they release in the soil to act like a regular amino acid that other plants will attach to the soil, and it will kill them. It's to protect their territory, which is crazy that that's how this amino acid evolved. It's just a mimicking amino acid but bodybuilders will take it, and it does provide a lot of nitrous oxide. So it's a lot of pump, a lot of vascularity, a lot of blood flow, which does help in the gym, but there's other ways to get that than L-norvaline. But it does work in a rapid sense, but it kills a lot of brain cells because it's a toxin. People don't know this, and they're just reading it on the back and just taking it. And then you hear the marketing side of things say, well, if you take it with this, it doesn't kill as many brain cells. And I don't, I'm not playing that game with you. Don't take something that kills any brain cells at any given time.
Don't do that.
You really shouldn't have to say that.
Right. But people really would, they gym rats already get I'm a dumb, meathead. Let's not make it accurate. So
my advice would be to actually look on the nutrition facts on it and research every single ingredient that's
all you gotta do is type in benefits.
I was just about to say, like, one of the most impressive things that just came out of your mouth is somebody walked into my shop and I looked on the back and I researched the ingredients. I researched what was in it and decided that this was not a good fit
Once you
for my
start
clients.
doing it, it's
and
addicting.
I think that is so, like, the integrity that shows, just of what you choose to put in your shop. Like, I'm so impressed by that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't mean it that way, but now I'm happy I said it.
He's like, yeah.
I made that story up, right? That's not even an amino acid.
No, but I mean, I think that's incredibly impressive that you're like, hey, like I know exactly what is in this, and I have too much integrity to just, sell it just because so-and-so was asking.
Even if you try to justify it, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And you know what that says to me is that, hey, I can trust you guys.
Yeah. Yes.
You're not just going to try to sell me on something.
I won't.
So we were talking about this in the last interview. You can't do everything well.
Yeah.
Like,
You can't.
You can try. You can be the jack of all trades, but you can't be a king of all of them. Right. Finding people that you can trust in your circle to support you is like the best thing you can do. Yeah. So I'm building my fitness circle, guys. Like, I just need somebody to be a personal trainer next. But you guys, for supplements, I've got Jessica Jackson on food. Yeah. Like, now we need the guy that owns Guru.
Guru's, he's
awesome.
a really good guy. You would like him.
It's default. You don't even have to think about it. I trust you guys. I know you're going to take care of me, and that goes so far.
Yeah, you would not believe how many times I hear, like, I love hearing it, but it's just like when they come up to the counter and they have a couple of items and they're like, what else? And I'm like, you don't need anything else. I could easily say this and that and this and that, but I'll say, let's start with this. And I say that all the time, and if they keep pushing like they want to get more stuff, I will do it, but overload a lot of the times is
right, and then you
really
also don't know
maintain.
what's working and what's not working if you're taking.
Right.
That's true.
You like to introduce, and plus your
simple.
body adapts so quickly, you don't want to adapt to everything so fast. You want to change things up.
Yeah. Oh, and side note, They also have an in-body scan.
That thing is amazing.
It's amazing. It tells you how much lean body mass you have, how much fat.
It tells you how much your bones
How much
weigh.
your
It tells
bones-
you everything.
I didn't know
You
this.
should come use it. It's cool.
My left arm weighs more than my right arm, which is weird. But
too.
I'm right-handed. Please explain
Yeah,
that.
that really doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense. But yeah, it's very cool. It's also, I think it's free.
Yeah, it's free. Yeah,
Okay, it's free. So if you want to know
For a
where
limited
you're
time.
at,
No.
You don't even have to buy anything. You can come in and use it anytime.
just,
Anytime.
I mean, amazing. So if you want to know where you're at currently on your fitness journey, it's a good place to start.
It keeps track too. Like
Yeah.
the ones that, like you enter your ID, you can make it whatever you want to. I recommend phone number because people ask me all the time, and I'm not going to know their ID.
They're like, "What's mine?"
So I'm like, it's your phone number, and so it'll keep 1 week to another week to another week, and just keep going. And it has like a graph, so you can actually see what goes up, what goes down.
That's why we
There's
like
too
doing
many
that
people focus on
when
weight.
people, yes, I'll get to that in a second. But we like doing that when we first see somebody to see their progress with what they're taking. They come back 2 weeks later and do it. If you're progressing, keep taking what you're taking. If you're not, we can put you on something else.
That is so. I've never been I've been to so many supplement shops, and I've never been to one that's
Right?
like, hey, let me help you track your
We've
progress.
actually, We're actually going to be the first supplement company to do something that's not out yet, but we're going to be one of the first to actually send your blood to a lab to see what you're deficient in supplements. Yeah, we're going
Here
to be the
for it.
first.
Well, let
We've
me
been
know when
working
that
on it for
comes.
we've been working on it for like a year and a half. So as soon as it happens, it's going to be really cool because that'll help us understand a lot more.
I love that. I'm so excited. Well, to round us out and kind of close us out, I would love to hear what your advice to your younger selves would be, especially like both of you talking about your journey through all of this.
Failing isn't failure.
Preach.
That was quick.
Thank you.
That was so fast.
Short, insightful. I love it.
All right.
Keep going because
So
failing doesn't mean anything.
I find this question like a paradox because I feel like advice comes from the experience. Like if someone's going to build my house, if I'm going to build my house, I don't want advice from someone who's never done it. So me giving advice to myself for me to not go through those things would be a disservice. You need to go through the struggles. You need to get knocked down. Like you have to, because those are the reasons you have advice to begin with. So I'm not much of a change the past or regret type of person, because that's the reason I have advice now, is because I went through my struggles. So I would tell myself to not tell myself something like that.
No pain, no gain.
Right.
Yeah. I love that.
I love it.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. This has been so much fun, and I feel like I've learned so much.
I feel like that gnat has been
It
right in front
loves
of your
me.
face.
It's because I smell
It's
so
your
good.
friend now.
The
I'm
bourbon
sure.
babe.
It's
We need
because
to get her a
it's the
t-shirt.
wine,
Yep.
whatever. No, thank you all so much.
It's not around anymore.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm waiting for you to come around the whole day.
It finally got right. Yeah, it's in my hand.